No star-spangled banners flying high, Santa's waiting, but the eagle won't try. Pretoria's got a thorn in its side, diplomatic poker played worldwide. Ace on the table, hearts on the floor. Who's keeping score? Who's keeping score? No USA in RSA. Big summit's gone astray. Trump said his piece, now he's on his way. No USA in No USA in RSA. Blank stares, the ANC's got no plan. Sad faces, but the show must stand. From Washington to Johannesburg sand, the game is rigged, the dealer's hand. Ace on the table, hearts on the floor. Who's keeping score? Who's keeping score? No USA in RSA. Big summit's gone astray. Trump said his piece, now he's on his way. No USA in No USA in RSA. Oh,
And we're back, folks. Welcome back on a Friday night. Friday Night Lights. Folks, welcome back. Okay, sound's working. Good to see you once again. It is Friday, November 14th, already Saturday, November 15th in South Africa, in Ireland, in the UK, Germany, Croatia, and points further east. Welcome back. Herzlich willkommen bei uns. Unsere Sendung heute Abend kommt aus Pennsylvania. Ich bin der Oberst Chris Wyatt und es freut mich, dass alle bei uns heute Abend sind. Schön, jeder da bei uns. Yeah. Good evening, folks. Welcome back to the program. Good to see you all once again. Every now and then I speak a little bit of German. I forget about it. I want to forget that stuff. Yeah, no USA and RSA, but not alone, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, it's not just the USA that's not coming. Let's see. There's the USA. There's China. China's not coming. USA, China, Russia, Mexico, Argentina. Yes, and how it's Japan. Oh, Nippon not coming as well. Things looking kind of grim at the G14. We'll be down to the G10 before you know it, the way things are going. But they're making excuses for them. Making excuses for the G14. Cyril's big day in the sun, ruined by South African politics. Indeed. Yes, the G14. Let's go. G14. It sounds like a car from Mazda. This November, the new G14 from Mazda, a four-door sedan of impeccable quality, built in Japan, designed by aliens from Andromeda Galaxy. The G14, only available in South Africa, where the tires will be stolen before you even pick up the keys. I'm on no sleep. No, just kidding. Welcome, folks. How y'all doing around the world? Let me say hello to folks. I got some stuff here to talk about tonight. Of course, Christopher Ulrich Fenter is here. James Duval. Kathy Price, our musically inclined person. CB is back. Mustard Olive Coaching. Alex 4406 in from the great state of OH10, Ohio. Linda Gordon. Gina Mullman. Gina, what's going on? Hey, I hope you've got good news sometime soon. Nicola, welcome to you. Charles Van Onselen, the voice of reason. And J983. Petrus van der Linde. Orangutan Juice. Okay. Jean Spence. Who else we got here? Same folks chatting. Malcolm Cloty. How's the boat, Malcolm? What's going on, Ronald Cloty? How's it going? And AJ Quinn. 787 Dreamliner is here. Emeritia Quinn. Thank you for explaining how there's no genocide in Israel, Colonel. It is very frustrating to have to listen to that. Well, you're very welcome. As I said repeatedly, Arabs in Israel enjoy the same rights as Christians and Jews. Arab Christians and Arab Muslims enjoy the same rights: freedom of worship, freedom of assembly, freedom of speech, the right to own a business, the right to serve in the Knesset, the right to serve in the military, in the police. Everything is available to them. No such thing as apartheid in that state. The apartheid is the Arabs that don't want to be part of Israel, who have hived themselves off Judea and Samaria as their own traditional Jewish homelands and what is known as Gaza. That's the apartheid. The apartheid is being committed by the Arabs, not by the Jews, and not by the state of Israel. Yeah, the Israelis live side by side with their neighbors, who are Christians and Muslims inside of Israel. Utopi's here, Maze. And I missed somebody there. Tinky Keiser. Christopher, let's see, you had a good accent. What accent is that? Hermanus Johannes Elank, welcome to you. That is a very, well, the Hermanus is more Latin or Dutch. Johannes Elank is definitely German, though. Linda Gordon, that's who I was missing. Oh, my goodness. Rudy Kotsia, good morning and evening, and everyone watching. Welcome to you. All right, guys, so, hey, this came in the mail. I got it a couple days ago. Came from my membership, the Gun Owners of America. Goals for 2025. It's a bit late, isn't it? It's a bit late. This just came in the mail. Yeah. So, 49 years of no compromise. Maze, I'm okay. Busy day. From 3:30 until 9 o'clock, I was at the Veterans Organization today. Record-breaking attendance. Okay. New book launch by Eric Pratt. Massive exhibition hall. Second Amendment Defenders Student Luncheon. Defend her rights. Women's brunch. Saturday night concert. Mascot unveiling. This was their conference, I guess. Main stage speakers and panels. Okay. I don't see. There's Dan Lush. It looks like. Activist Society dinner. Book signings. Political and activist training. PSA fueling the fight with check presentation. Exciting product launches and members meetup. Okay. Cool. Cool. Don't forget to renew your membership. No, it's not late. It was their conference, I guess, October, November. So I don't know why this late listed listed it as 2025. I think it's just the emblem that's on there. Anyway, yeah, I should say goal 26. I think I've just misread it. Yep, I have carried all kinds of firearms in my lifetime. Quite the necessity. Quite the necessity. I don't live a rich, privileged life of leafy suburbs where people are safe and sound in their home and hearth, but rather lived a life of danger and intrigue where death is at around every corner, so that people could live in peace and solitude in their heath, their hearth, and their home. Yep. So, how crazy stores? Yeah, Christmas decorations already. I saw that. I went to the dollar store and they had Christmas decorations up 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago. Yeah, they just get crazy. All right, folks, let's cover a couple things here. So we'll see what we got going on. Illegal immigrant rhetoric has been slammed. Oh, is it homophobic? No, it's not homophobic. Is it transphobic? No, it's not transphobic. What kind of phobic is it? It must be Islamophobic. Oh, no, say it isn't so. Islamophobia. Run for the hills. Run, Bob, Bob. Bob, what do you say? What do you say, Bob? Oh, Bob gave his response. There's the bugger off bunny. Bob gave his response to the illegal immigrant rhetoric narrative. Yes, in fact, they are illegal immigrants. That's right. Illegal immigrant rhetoric slammed after Palestinian refugees. They're not refugees. They did not. I'm sorry. No less than a world-renowned authority, Ronnie Lamola, told me that they can't be refugees because they don't live in tents, they haven't fled from a conflict zone, and they haven't been registered with the UN. So they're not refugees. We know it, guys. I mean, I say trust in your government. Damn it, trust in your government. The ANC knows best. The ANC says you're not refugees if you don't live in a tent, you haven't run from a conflict, and you aren't registered with the UN. None of these frauds are any of those things. Therefore, they couldn't possibly be refugees. It's impossible. Absolutely impossible. They're not in a refugee camp in Kenya or Uganda, so how could they possibly be refugees? This is just a bill of goods. None other than the Foreign Secretary of South Africa has told me that. I get my info knowledge from the great and exalted, almighty Ronnie Lamola. Yes, Ronnie Lamola. Yes, who taught me how to dance too. Yes. Yep. So yeah, they're not refugees, not according to South Africa's standards, which of course aren't real standards, but hey, who cares? It's the ANC. They just make it up as they go. In a statement released on Friday, the Cape Town Ulama Board, CTUB, has unequivocally commended the decisive and compassionate actions taken by various South African entities following the recent arrival of Palestinian refugees in Johannesburg. I'm sorry, CTUB. They're not refugees. You need to speak to Ronnie Lamola and set you straight. They're not refugees. And you've commended them. Where is the xenophobia that South Africa is so famous for? They don't like black people. Oh my gosh, look at these black people, these terrible Burundians and these Zimbabweans. They're everywhere. They're stealing our women. They're stealing our jobs. Ooh, let's welcome in the Arabs. We'll welcome in the Arabs to replace them. Yes, kick the Zimbabweans out and we'll welcome the Arabs. Welcome to OR Tambo. Please remain seated while we get you a warm buffet. Yes. Oh my goodness. Ooh. The CTUB praised the humanitarian efforts displayed, describing the entry as a shining example of Ubuntu in action, despite the immense trauma and logistical complexity surrounding it. Immense trauma? What trauma? Were there artillery rounds exploding around them as the plane landed? Was a machine gun fire raking the seats of the plane? Were they hit with mustard gas? What trauma did they experience? Being Palestinian? I suppose that's trauma. My goodness. Wow. And the complexity of the event, it's complex because they're illegal. They're illegal on an unfiled flight plan, landing in a country they don't have a right to enter, didn't have a visa. Apparently they don't need a visa. So what are they? Are they immigrants? Are they tourists? Are they refugees? Or as Miss Oosthuizen from The Gift of the Giver said, they are refugees seeking asylum. Survey says you can't be a refugee seeking asylum. You can be an asylum seeker seeking asylum, but you cannot be a refugee. And besides, they're not refugees. My friend Ronnie Lamola told me they're not refugees. That's right, folks. They're not refugees. Not refugees. While praising the South African entities, they strongly condemn the uneducated. Wait, is that educated or what the hell is that word? Is that even a word? Am I going to get educated myself tonight? Let me see what the hell that's supposed to say. That does not look like a word. Maybe it's a word that I just don't use very often in the English language. I'll allow for that. Let's see. It's not a word. It's not a word. Uneducated. They're uneducated. They meant to say uneducated. Even Google picked up on that. It's supposed to be uneducated. But they wrote uneducated. I'm not making this up, folks. Here's the quality editing at the Toilet Paper Record, the IOL. There you go. While praising the South African entities, the CTUB also strongly condemned the uneducated critics circulating xenophobic rhetoric who attempted to portray the Palestinians as illegal immigrants merely seeking to settle in South Africa. No. Well, what are they doing in South Africa then? The organization asserted that these criticisms are factually inaccurate and morally bankrupt, emphasizing individuals were genuine refugees. I'm sorry, where are their FEMA tents? Which war did they run from? The Sharm el-Sheikh agreement ended the war in Gaza. There's no war except for Hamas murdering innocent civilians, executing them in public squares. That's the only war going on. Aren't you Hamas lovers? Why are you fleeing from Hamas? And, of course, ladies and gentlemen, not only that, but they haven't registered with the UN. So therefore, according to the great, powerful Ronald Lamola, they are therefore not refugees. These are not the refugees you seek. The organization asserted these criticisms were factually inaccurate and morally bankrupt. Morally bankrupt? My goodness. So South Africa is not only financially bankrupt, but it's also morally bankrupt. Oh my goodness, what a terrible catastrophe. It's a catastrophe. The organization asserted that these criticisms are factually inaccurate and morally bankrupt, emphasizing that individuals are genuine refugees escaping a catastrophic scenario involving involving the human genome. We don't want to get a little marker saying we said the G word. No. Well, you can say G, but you can't put the white in front of it. Yes, involving genocide, coercive displacement, and a wave of homicide. A wave of homicide. Ladies and gentlemen, 153 dead Palestinians arrived in OR Tambo today. There you have it. They're victims of genocide. Nothing but bodies showed up. Clearly victims of genocide. The entire population of the plane was wiped out in a genocide. Yes, indeed. This is the story of the day. We've got to stick with this story. Can't let it go, folks. Can't let it go. It turns out that all 153 Palestinians were actually not alive. They were zombies. It's the night of the Walking Dead. Zombies. Yep. The Walking Dead, ladies and gentlemen. These people were victims of genocide. We have the proof of it because they've told us as walking zombies. Let's go now live to OR Tambo to talk to our walking zombies. So, Fadil, can you tell us a little bit about what your experience is like? It's a zombie apocalypse at OR Tambo. More to follow at 11. News on SABC. Tonight on Carte Blanche, I survived a zombie apocalypse at OR Tambo. Eyewitness accounts of the dead Palestinians, victims of a genocide, arriving in South Africa. We go now live to OR Tambo with our journalist, Hey Dumbshit. Hello, it's Hey Dumbshit here. Welcome back to the program. Yes, we're talking to the walking zombies. Once upon a time, they were Palestinians, but apparently victims of a genocide. They've arrived here in South Africa where they are just, dropping in for a visit. Yes, that's true. I know half of them have relatives here who slipped in the country on October 28th without anybody knowing about it, but these are good, hardworking, honest people. And welcome to South Africa. Can I get your name? Is it Mohammed Jones? No, I don't think that's true. No, I'm sorry. You're not a credible witness. Can we have the next zombie, please? Next zombie. Equating their escape from aerial bombardment and trauma with economic migration is seen as by the CTUB as forgetting the solidarity for South Africans during apartheid. Solidarity offered by whom? There was no Gaza. There was no Palestinian Authority during apartheid. Let me just bring you up to speed, CTUB. It was only the Palestinian terrorist organization known as the Palestinian Liberation Organization. Terrorists who murdered people. Yes, that's who. Leila Khalid, people like this. There was no Palestine. There was no Palestinian Authority. So what's solidarity? Solidarity with terrorists. That's who you had solidarity with, not the Palestinian people. I never saw the ANC rock up in Jordan and greet the majority of the population who are Palestinian, or did they ever go to Kuwait and congratulate the million at the time, now less than 500,000, Palestinians who are working in Kuwait? No, never seen that. Did they come to my neighbor's house when I lived in Tunis, in El Menzassis? J'habitais en El Menzassis à Tunis pendant l'an 2000 jusqu'à 2001. Ma voisin, il était le représentatif de le PLO, le Palestinian Organisation de Libération. Il était PLO. C'était juste à côté de moi, maison. Ah, c'est vraiment, c'est pas que... je ne suis pas menteur. C'est vraiment la vérité. Le voisin, du mois, à Tunis, dans le quartier El Menzassis, entre 2000 et 2001, était le représentatif du PLO. Oui, c'est vrai. Il n'y a jamais le ANC à Tunis. Aucun Africain du Sud était là. Ouais, personne n'était là. Donc, pour cette raison, je ne suis pas convaincu. les accusations de cette groupe. Well, I name myself a lampshade. Hello, I'm Joe Lampshade. I'm Joe Lampshade. That's right. I am defining myself as a Croatian, transgender, bilingual, multisexual eggplant. And it's my truth. It's my truth. Yeah. Well, that's right, Phoenix, because the locals are going to be mad. I mean, look how hot and mad they get about Zimbabweans and Burundians. Wait till they get a hold of Palestinians. You want to talk about xenophobia? Ho, ho, ho. You want to drop those Palestinians somewhere, you need to send them to the Western Cape or to Durban. Yep, not O.R. Tambo. The board expressed deep disturbances over the initial inhumane conditions faced by... Inhumane! Oh, like being deployed in combat and being shot at or being murdered by terrorists. Yes, you're right. It's inhumane. It's such a terrible inconvenience sitting on a plane for 9 hours. Yeah, you ever tried flying from O.R. Tambo to freaking Delta, Atlanta? Hey, you ever try that one? South African Airways from Cape Town to Atlanta? You want to talk about uncomfortable and inhumane? Good Lord. According to reports from the humanitarian groups assisting refugees, the passengers spent 13 hours on board in inhumane conditions. Let me put this in perspective. That's 13 hours they weren't being genocided by the Israelis. What are you bitching about? What are you bitching about? What are you bitching about? 13 hours. No bullets, no mortar rounds. You're just sitting on a plane, eating peanuts and crisps. Drinking these little tiny ass cans of Coke. These are the ones they put on a plane. Give me a break. 13 hours of inhumane treatment on a plane. Oh my gosh. Oh, it's so terrible. Oh my gosh. Bob, what do you say, Bob? Oh, Bob has made his statement. Yep. I'll tell you, it's rough. It's rough. It is truly rough. The refugees, since that's how refugees are described in South African media and by government officials, the refugees traveled on a charter flight from Nairobi. What were they doing in Nairobi, for goodness sake? They're Palestinian. Aren't they supposed to be in Palestine? But they're in Nairobi. Well, why did the Nairobians want them? Don't the Kenyans want the Nairobians? I mean, the Palestinians? They arrived in Joburg at 7:50 in the morning on November 13th, a day which will live in infamy. Yes, Global Airways, the operator, confirmed that 150 passengers were initially deemed inadmissible, which means they didn't have proper documentation. No, you mean they're illegal. Illegal. Yes. Okay. Yeah. Let me just get that real quick. Let me see if I can find this. I'm looking for something I want to share with you guys. There he is. This is the one I want. I want to find this. Where's the one I had? Oh, come on. Which one did he have there for me? Damn. Is it this one?
Feminism was invented by a...
Whoops. Yeah, that's not the one I want. I'm looking for it. Come on, give it to me here. Where's it at? She roasts people. It's fantastic. I'm not going to show it on the screen. Oh, there it is. That's what I want. All right, here we go. You guys ready for this? This is Leonardo Joni. She's hilarious. But leftists won't like her. You ready?
Because he's black.
No.
What?
You wouldn't date a guy who worked at McDonald's and had...
Mexicans are trying to figure out what a vaccine passport is.
War.
Hey, honey, if you think I suck, the door's right there. You can get the fuck out. I know when people get offended and they think their opinion is more important than a room full of people who are enjoying the content. She's vaccinated. I got it. Hey, people died. I know. People died all the fucking time. The rest of us got to suffer because these guys were doing it for stupid shit. It was like so they could go to brunch.
Anyway. Good morning, Rebecca. Yeah, I love that. That's Leonardo Joni. She's hilarious. So some lady in the crowd says, "You suck." So she responds in the following way.
Hey, honey, if you think I suck, the door's right there. You can get the fuck out.
Yeah, if you think I suck, here's the doors right there. You can get the F out.
I love when people get offended and they think their opinion is more important than a room full of people who are...
Yeah, people get offended and think their opinion is more important than a room full of people who are enjoying themselves.
enjoying the content.
Who are enjoying the content. Oh, yeah, Carla, she's brilliant, man. She is freaking brilliant. Leonardo Jody. I almost was late for the show because I was watching some clips of hers tonight. She kills me. She kills me. All right, let's get back to our story in hand, folks. Let's get back to our story in hand. All right. The situation stemmed from the lack of exit stamps to their passports, which the gift of the givers noted was deliberate action by Israel to exacerbate the suffering in a foreign country. That's a lie. A lie. We call that a lie. A lie. A lie for the loser who tells that lie. Ladies and gentlemen, as Tim Flack said, and I can attest to having lived in Israel, when you enter in and out of Israel, they don't stamp your passport because the bigot, racist, xenophobic Arabs will not let you enter their country if you have an Israeli passport stamp in your passport. Therefore, in order not to have you prejudiced for having been in Israel, they won't stamp your passport. They don't. They don't. Tim said they give you a little piece of paper. In my case, I didn't get anything. I just went back to Europe. Yep. So that's a lie. That's a lie. A lie. The following is a lie. A lie. That's right. Yep, it's a lie. Okay, so the Board of Management Authority initially acted in keeping with its mandate by allowing passengers without an exit stamp to disembark. However, the situation was resolved later when gifted givers thanked Minister Ronald Lamola and Durko DG Zane Danger for receiving refugees with open arms. But they're not refugees, Ronnie Lamola. You said they had to be living in a tent and fleeing from a war zone and be registered with UN. They are none of those things. Oh my goodness. Today they're refugees, tomorrow they're not. South Africans aren't refugees, Palestinians are. South Africans belong in South Africa, Palestinians belong somewhere else. Yeah, South Africa, 40% unemployment, junk bond status, inadequate housing, no electricity, falling roads, failing infrastructure. We're now putting up all of these refugees into hotels. Yes. So next time you give to a charitable organization, think about where their money goes. Yep. They praised decisive government action, particularly saluting Dr. Imtiaz Suleiman and gifted the givers whose pure humanitarian compassion swiftly resolved the initial impasse. What is the gift of the givers' position on xenophobia and the murder of foreign nationals and Operation Doo-Doo Head? What is the gift of the givers? Does anybody know the position of the gift of the givers when it comes to Operation Doo-Doo Head? Does anybody know? I don't know their stated position on that. Maybe they're compassionate and care about foreign nationals, but I don't know their position. Never stamp my passport. Please take them. Exactly, Linda. Exactly. I'm not aware of them helping white folks either. I don't know. Maybe they have. I don't know. Actually, they did respond to the floods up in in Citrusdal. In Citrusdal, gift givers responded, but I think most of the people they helped were colored. Not that it really matters. It all starts with a few hundred people, Dogzilla. Just a few hundred people. And look at this now. Dearborn overrun. Yes, just a few hundred people. Yes, look at the UK. You can't go anywhere in London. You feel like you're in Riyadh. If I want Riyadh, I'll go to Riyadh. If I want a Croat experience, I'll go to Croatia. If I want an English experience, I can't go anywhere. There's no English experience. It's all taken over. Yep. All the travelers have valid passports, and at present, none of them have applied for asylum. So, they're not asylum seekers. Leon Shriver. Entry requirements still apply despite South Africa's visa exemption for holders of ordinary passports, which allows them to visit for 90 days. Okay, Department of International Relations Cooperation says it has no knowledge of any Palestinian refugees entering South Africa. So, now they say they're not refugees. Which is it, Ronald Lamola? Are they refugees or are they not refugees, man? Make your mind up. Make your mind up. Dude, are they refugees or not? On the one hand, he says they're refugees. Then he says, no, we have no information on refugees entering the country. My goodness. Gift givers, along with civil society partners, confirmed they would provide comprehensive humanitarian assistance, including accommodation, food, medical support, and legal care. Oh, all the things that you fund. So, yes, you fund that, folks. Oh, yeah, I saw the videos, bitching and moaning on a plane, demanding this, demanding that. Very arrogant. In addressing the authorities, CTUB noted that displacement must not turn a humanitarian crisis compounded by a bureaucratic nightmare, calling the crisis a moral outrage. Really? And they called upon the South African government to investigate the initial inhumane conditions further and hold accountable those who subjected the traumatized individuals to further indignity and distress. Indignity? Did they take them out and horse with them at OR Temp? Did we miss the footage of that? Where they strip searched in front of an entire group of people out there? What was the indignity? Sitting on a plane? Have you ever been in uniform, you losers? You whiny crybabies? A bunch of pussified people, man. I swear to goodness. Bunch of pussified people. The USA is not a melting pot of cultures. No. No, that's a fairy tale. Just like, give us you're tired, you're poor, you're useless, you're unemployable, you're crippled. Please give us all of them. That's bullshit too. That's not real. That's a stupid poem. It had nothing to do with Statue of Liberty. Statue of Liberty was a sign of friendship between la France et les États-Unis. Ce n'est pas un symbole I'm not going to get into it. Yeah, you're tired, you're poor. Give me a break. Les fatigués. Les gens en pauvreté et fatigués. Non, c'est pas pour les gens. Ça, c'est vraiment... ils sont mon corps. Ils sont mon corps et mon cœur. Ouais. Utter nonsense. Misleading, unregistered group arranged Palestinian trip. Really? It's a registered organization, according to the research that Tim Flack did. Hey, look at that. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I can have at least 10 military age men who fled from their country. The Embassy of the State of Palestine said an unregistered and misleading organization arranged the arrival of 153. Huh. Interesting. Yeah, an unnamed organization. Now, see, that's all been blown apart because, in fact, this is all part of the Sharm el-Sheikh Accord, which ended the conflict in Gaza, negotiated by who? The golden hair warrior, Donald John Trump, negotiated this peace agreement. And the Israelis promised to provide a land corridor to Ramon Air Base to evacuate any Gazans who wished to leave. Nobody was hoodwinked. Nobody was tricked. I mean, isn't it funny? They were tricked. They were tricked. They were tricked. That's what they claim. They were tricked. Really? They're tricked? Their kith and kin are sitting in South Africa, having slipped into the country on October 28th. How were they tricked? Who tricked these people? They paid to come here to there. They paid. They paid for a charter flight to get out of Palestine, Gaza, Israel, whatever you want to call it. Old Egypt, whatever you want to call it. They paid to get out. So what is this nonsense about, oh, yes, they were tricked? No, they weren't tricked. The people who were tricked were the public, by the propagandists. By the propagandists. Oh my goodness. Cyril Ramaphosa will hand over the presidency to an empty chair. We'd like now to hand over the presidency of the G20 to the United States. Sorry, there's nobody here. Damn it. Foiled again. Those damn Americans.
That was easy.
Shame on them. They ended apartheid. We'll blame them for apartheid. Damn it, those Americans. Oh, they gave us $8.1 billion to fight HIV. Those evil Americans. Oh, they've invested billions of dollars in our economy. Those evil Americans. Damn it. It's all Elon Musk's fault. No, it's Henry River. No, it's John Forster. It's Jan van Riebeck. That's whose fault it is. And that colored fellow, Simon van der Stel. Terrible people. An empty chair. Well, isn't that appropriate? An empty vessel hands over to an empty chair. Isn't that appropriate? Would you agree? An empty vessel, Cyril Ramaphosa, hands the presidency over to an empty chair. Yes, light rain, exactly right. Why aren't they going to the Sinai? Let's see. South Africa, 6,000 miles away. Sinai, 2 minutes away. Egypt, right there. Jordan, right there. Samaria and Judea, right there. Lebanon, right there. Saudi Arabia, right there. There's a reason Arabs don't want them. They're not stupid. They're not stupid. They don't want more Sawahiri in their midst. Yep. So, folks, here you go. President Cyril Ramaphosa said today that South Africa will symbolically hand over the G20 to an empty chair in the absence of U.S. leadership at the summit next week, while stressing the need to repair trade ties with Washington. Well, dude, if you want to repair trade ties, you actually need an ambassador, or at least a trade representative resident in Washington. Let's see. Ibrahim Rasool was Rasool, what, in February? Was it in February, I think? He was Rasool in February. Persona non grata. Persona non grata. It's been a while. He's been out of the loop for a while. Where is your ambassador, Cyril? Where is your ambassador to the United States? Ours is in confirmation hearings. Yep. And we had a change of administration. You have no such excuse. No such excuse. Where is your ambassador? Why don't you have an ambassador? Where, Cyril?
In the heart of shadows where headlines grow,
Al Quds.
a name engraved in whispers and undertow.
Terrorist.
Ambassador, no title, now it seems so stark.
Ain't it true?
Persona non grata written in the dark. Oh, the ties that thread and tangle tight. Diplomatic dances in the cold moonlight. A step misplaced and the stage does sway. Persona non grata carried far away. Pages turn but bridges burn so fast.
Oh, yeah.
A name in ember solemnly cast.
Watch out, here comes Rasool.
In halls of power, a silent decree. Echoes and whispers across the sea. Oh, the ties that thread and tangle tight. Diplomatic dances in the cold moonlight. A step misplaced and the stage does sway. Persona non grata carried far away. When walls talk back and windows cry,
Incubisi Jonas is on the sky.
skies in the space between the
Special
set and
envoys.
scene lies a story that cuts unclean. Hold the ties that thread and tangle tight.
Diplomatic dances in the cold moonlight.
A step misplaced and the stage does sway. Persona non grata carried far away.
Oh, Ibrahim. Got a big expensive job now, making a ton of money. Too bad.
Persona non grata carried far away.
You've been Rasooled. You've been Rasooled. Sit down like a big boy and take your medicine. You've been Rasul. Now, ladies and gentlemen, a word from our sponsor. Just a moment. We'll have a word from our sponsor. You can just be patient. I'm trying to get our sponsor up. And where are you at? There's our sponsor. Ladies and gentlemen, coming to us live now from Tehran in the heart of the Islamic Republic of Iran, none other than Jabba the Hutt, the former foreign minister of South Africa. Colonel, what are you talking about? We're here in Tehran, talking to our friends. I've never met a Big Mac I didn't like. And yes, welcome to all the Palestinians who've arrived in South Africa. Solo. Oh. Ladies and gentlemen, that was a message from our sponsor, Jabba the Hutt. Yes, she has Han Solo. Jabba the Hutt. You've been Rasul. Xavier says that was well done. Did you like the costume change? My shirt's looking kind of crooked there. There we go. Yeah, costume change midstream. Well, Fikile Babalula accuses Trump of punishing South Africa over fabricated claims of white genocide. What have we done? What? No. See, this is the inability of a 30% politician, a 30%, 2, 3, 4, 5, when he runs out of toes, he's not going to get any further. That's going to get him 5, 10, 15, 20. He won't get to 30%. But this is the ramblings of a 30% politician who does not understand that the reason for suspension of assistance to South Africa wasn't white genocide, which is something you made up. No. The reason for that, ladies and gentlemen, was? What was it? Expropriation without compensation, a violation of Section 25 of South Africa's Constitution, and a violation of international norms and standards, and a violation of the Human Rights Declaration. The Human Rights Declaration, as I've showed you, which South Africa is a signatory to, forces states to uphold property rights, which South Africa is abrogated with expropriation with nil compensation. They think they're going to play games in their second language with the word nil. It means 0, 9, nix, like the common sense that the ANC displays. Nil. Like the policy that works in South Africa. Nil. Like the economic growth in South Africa. Nil. 0. Nix, 9, yet not in the Bahnhof. No, none. No, my friend. None. Yes, but Fikile Babalula says they're being punished. Dude, you want punishment? You don't know what punishment is. You do. You like your credit cards? No more. Ooh, you like buying stuff online? Ooh, not for long, Chuckles. Not for long. Yeah. You want punishment? Oh, Trump can bring a world of hurt down on you. A world of hurt. There's no punishment in South Africa. No punishment whatsoever. And the tariffs aren't because of white genocide. No. Their tariffs are because you are unfair to us. 75% tariffs on poultry. I haven't seen one of these leftist blue hair lunatics or black supremacists ever refute a word I say about the 75% poultry tariffs. Do you know why? Because it's true. They also don't refute what I say about South Africa blocking our pork from coming there. Do you know why? Because it's irrefutable. It's true. They also don't refute my comments about South Africa putting quotas on the number of cars America can ship into South Africa. Do you know why? Because it's true. So what do? They'll call you a racist. They call you against transformation. You're damn skippy I'm against transformation. That is a dog whistle for racism. State-sanctioned, endorsed, enforced racism. There's no transformation. South Africa has been transformed from a middle-income country into a collapsing third world state, and it's tripled the number of black people living in poverty. That's what's been transformed. And the economy that worked, that functioned, the infrastructure, the roads, the highways, the rails, the ports that used to work, that's what you've been transformed into, a failed state. I don't like transformation because it means decline. It means illiteracy. It means teen pregnancy. It means HIV rates more than anywhere in the world. More HIV infected people in South Africa than any other country in the world. What a great accomplishment. When the National Party left, nobody had HIV except a couple hundred people. A couple hundred people who were hemophiliacs and gays. That's it. Maybe it was a few thousand. Now you got 8.5 million South Africans living with HIV. Oh, yes, you've done a great job, ANC. Well done. Remember Tabo and Becky? Yes, you can cure AIDS with beetroot. Talk to my doctor alcoholic friend here, whose kidneys we replaced half a dozen times, so other people died on the waiting list, because she is a lush and drinks like a fish. Well, I went to school in the Soviet Union. That's why I went to medical school, and they told me that you can cure AIDS with beetroot. Beetroot. And the reason for AIDS is poverty. Yes, it's not a virus. No, it's not a virus. They tell us to trust the science. Do they know what science is? Beetroot onions. Yes, it was 2 livers, not 6. I was embellishing. I'm under the influence of Coca-Cola here. You know it has cocaine in it, right? Hey, folks, I'm a cocaine dealer. See? Coca-Cola. See, I haven't addressed it, but I'm going to address it. Dogzilla is intentionally playing the leftist game. Nobody is complaining about Muslims. I didn't say anything about Muslims, did I? I said Arab Palestinians. And I also said they're illegal entrants, which the Border Management Agency admitted. They're the ones that said they're illegal. I'm just reporting what they said. Not talking about their faith. But see how the faith comes into it. Nothing to do with the faith. Not talking about faith. South Africa has Muslims. South Africa has Jews. South Africa has Christians. But you see how the leftists try to twist the argument. Like turn you into somebody that's against the faith. Hey, dude, have you ever practiced Ramadan? Have you ever fasted for the 30 days of Ramadan? Have you? Have you? I have. Have you ever celebrated the Eid al-Fitr? I have. Have you ever lived in a Muslim country? I have. So sit down and shut up, Junior. Enough said. ANC Secretary General Fikile Mbalula accused President Trump of trying to punish South Africa over what he described as a fabricated claim of white farmers being slaughtered in the country. Speaking in a media briefing on Tuesday at headquarters in Joburg, where he rambled for an hour, he said that Washington's decision not to come to the upcoming G20 summit was politically motivated. Well, yes, it is politically motivated. Your politics are what motivated it. The American administration of Donald Trump is not taking part in G20 is to communicate a message of seeking to punish our country, but unfortunately, the reasons they have chosen to punish us are economically incorrect. They're lies and fabricated. No, they're not. The lies and fabrications are coming from you, the Secretary General of the African National Congress, a man who brings shame upon a liberation-era organization that up until the year 1960 was an honorable organization. Its dark, shadowy, murderous legacy since 1960 is not something to be proud of. First off, they murdered 30,000 IFP leaders, slaughtered the Inkatha Freedom Party, necklacing in the 1980s and early 1990s. Now, over 700,000 South Africans have died on their watch. Murdered in South Africa. Wow. If they use the question of genocide, the President of America goes to Miami and says things are horrible there. I'm sorry. You're using the word again. See? He's using the word. Just like Gift of the Givers used the word. I don't see Enterets. I don't see Afreform. I don't see me. I don't see anybody I know, a conservative, using the phrase, except to refute and report on what they say. They're the ones saying it once again. The man further strained relations between the countries. Democratic Alliance leader John Cena, who attended discussions, told Trump and senior officials of this party joined the government national unity to prevent such. That was in May. May 21st. June, July, August, September, October, November. 5 months and 3 weeks ago. That's what they're regurgitating? And let me just replay that for you guys. Mr. President, have you seen my white minister? Facepalm. Have you seen my white minister? Wow. That was, I had popcorn for that event. That was a huge day on this channel. So many people. The Norwegian fund expresses confidence in South Africa's economy, with a $75 million pissed down the drain in investment into a South African BEE company. Yes. Norfund, the Norwegian development finance institution, has acquired a $75 million stake in Mulilo Energy Holdings, a leading South African BE renewable energy firm chaired by Jan Oberholzer, a former chief operating officer of the state embarrassment known as Eskom. Wow. It was made through the Norwegian Climate Investment Fund. With over 450 megawatts already operational and 30 gigawatts in development, Mulilo is positioning itself as Africa's major force in energy transition. The deal, advised by Standard Chartered, marks another major global vote of confidence in South Africa's renewable energy sector. Oberholzer, who has chaired Mulilo since 2023, previously worked alongside Andre de Ruyter, the green energy fantasizer, spearheading projects such as Kuberg Nuclear Power Station and Kusile Power Station. I would not speak much about Kusile or Madupe. I wouldn't tell people about that. What has happened having South Africa right now is penned many years ago. The final interview was hard for the lady working the embassy. I really stressed a lot. I really did my best to stay on topic. All right, well, Dennis, good luck. I imagine you did okay. The presidency rejects calls to call a disaster, the Cape Town gun violence, a state disaster. So every time you turn around, the ANC laughs about Cape Town being a well-managed city. Oh, look at the Cape Flats. Look at all the violence. Look at all the black people being killed. Well, the heartless DA sits around. So the city of the mother city of Cape Town, Jordan Hill Lewis, has been asking the national government to declare a state of emergency, have they not, for ages. And Ramaphosa says, no, let the black people and colored people die. Presidency has rejected calls to declare Cape Town's gun violence a state disaster, despite more than 50 killings reported in October and November. He says the National Security Cluster has already finalized an anti-gang strategy and must be allowed time to implement it. Well, time for people to die. Allow time for people to be murdered in the Cape Flats. Western Cape legislature descended in a fierce debate as DA, ANC, ACDP, and good members clashed over who is failing communities amid the escalating shootings. Well, the national government is clearly failing those communities because they won't recognize it as a priority crime. And there you have it, folks. There you have it. It is not being recognized as a priority crime. They're just simply ignoring it. They're ignoring it. So it all falls on the ANC. They run the national government. Well, folks, for those who are curious, earlier today we spoke with Tim Flack. Interesting conversation where we heard his side of events that unfolded with the Palestinian flight landing at Ortambo. Well, Tim, very interesting insight, and his article published on Biz News. I did promise to post that, and it's now posted in the video. So that video, with a terrible title and not the best thumbnail, still has a live stream, has a total of 10,800 views, and it's picking up this morning. That's pretty cool. Wow, a lot of the live streams when they get a bunch of views. The last big live stream I had was with Rob Hersoff, perhaps. See how just elected a trust fund brat has never had a real job. Her parents pay for a campaign. It'll get very bad. It will. It will get very, very bad. Adrian Frick in from the Schweiz. Grüezi to you. Yep. You can't educate people that don't want to learn, Charles. You can't educate people that don't want to learn. You're simply tilting at windmills, my friend. Anyway, here's a story by Tim Flack. For those who are curious, I put the link in the video from this afternoon when I interviewed him. There you go. Over 100 Gazans quietly flew in South Africa and how the story was twisted online. Yep. First off, these people went through an organized, internationally approved, and agreed to by Israelis corridor to let them get out of the country. And here is the organization in Israel known as the Coordination of Government Activities in the Territories, affirmed that these people were leaving. And this is what they posted on the 12th of November, or the 13th. Close to 250 Gazans in need of medical treatment and caregivers, as well as Gazans with dual citizenship, exited Gaza yesterday, November 12th, through the Karim Shalom crossing to the Allenby Bridge crossing and the Ramon Airport. We urge countries and organizations to coordinate efforts and provide necessary support and treatment Many have already done so. We remain committed to working with our partners in the international community to actively coordinate and support the medical evacuation of patients and caregivers. So, the Israelis facilitated the departure of Gazans as agreed to in the Sharm el-Sheikh Accords, which ended the conflict, and these people paid for their flight. It was chartered for them. They flew to South Africa to rejoin families in many cases, and we hear people telling us that this was the Israelis forcing them to sit on a plane. What a crock of shit. A total crock of shit. Hate speech. There's no hate speech. Dude, you don't know what hate speech is. You want to hear hate speech? I'll give you hate speech. Simply stating the facts is not hate speech. Yeah, that's true, Anti-Floy. Yep. Top economists calling world leaders to set up an international panel on equality. Really? Where were you bastards when I was starving as a kid getting one meal a day? Hundreds of top economists and other experts, including useless former Secretary Janet Yellen, called Friday on the world to set up an independent international panel on income and wealth inequality. The call in an open letter came before the G20 in South Africa next weekend. Between 2020 or 2020, the richest 1% captured 41% of all new wealth created in the world, the report said. While 1 in 4 people globally now face moderate or severe food insecurity, meaning they regularly skip meals, that number has increased since 2019. Well, gee, I wonder what happened in 2020, you dumbasses. COVID, and countries have yet to recover from COVID. You're going to blame malnutrition and people increased on wealthy people? No. By the way, the richest 1% of the world who captured 41%, they generated probably 90% of that wealth. And you begrudge them that. Oh, here we go with the non-sequiturs. Gaza has nothing to do with it. Dogzilla, you are thicker than a box of rocks. You really are. You really are. You know, you really just, I know you're trolling, you're having fun, but the things you say don't even make sense. They were in Kenya. They were in Kenya. Why the fuck did they leave Kenya? Tell me why they left Kenya, Dogzilla. Tell me why they left Kenya. Tell me why they left Kenya. They're in Kenya for a reason. They're in Kenya for a reason. So they can come to South Africa. It's called destination shopping. Destination shopping. Destination shopping, folks.
Dogzilla monster, yeah, it's too much. Hey! Bet you think this jam is all you'll play. Splashing through the Connell stream, throwing shade like it's a meme. No facts, just vibe. Each what a scene. Warning, stacking, count it out. In, tweet, 3, time out. Connell says with a sly little grin, some journos out there, bit thick in the bin. But rocks don't tweet. They just chill, they don't spin stories or send out the bill. Life's too short for moaning and grind. Share the lack of the truth, the crime. Chuck the ugly, leave it behind. Let the truth dance out, let it shine. No time for drama, no space for spite. We groove truth, we jam it right. Living in a fairyland, shame man please. Keyboard warrior with no real steez. Typing daggers, throwing shade. But words don't scar, they just fade. So what's your handle, winner? Be cool, be a friendly troll, not a Peter fool. Listen up, facts are fire. Smart is sexy, no need to conspire. Connell's truth, yo, it hits like a drum. Breaks the fake, makes the trolls go numb. Some peeps laugh, some just moan. Connell, leave the rocks alone. Life's too short for moaning and grind. Share the lack of the truth, the crime. Chuck the ugly, leave it behind. Let the truth dance out, let it shine. No time for drama, no space for spite. We grew with truth, we jam it right.
It is, Jermaine. They had a safe haven. Refugees are required to take up residence in the first safe haven they reach. By destination shopping under international norms, you are no longer a refugee. You are a destination shopper. You have squandered whatever claim you had to refugee status by skipping from one country to another and have made yourself an illegal migrant. Those are the international norms. Convenient how leftists overlook that and ignore that fact. They were safe in Kenya. Why didn't they stay in Kenya? Why aren't they in Jordan? And this is called hate speech? No, it's called reason. Someone needs to open a book up and learn about the ancient Greeks. They knew about reason. That's right. Kenya has a Dadaab camp. They can go live with the 650,000 Somalis in a camp in northeastern Kenya. That's a nice home for them. I think that South Korea and Italy might pull out, Xavier, if anybody else does. Right. They may be Christians. We don't know. But there aren't many Christians left in Gaza. They're mostly kicked out. No, Jordan won't take them, Linda, because Jordan is overwhelmed by Palestinians who outnumber Jordanians. Yep. Kuwait won't take them. Egypt, which is right there, blocked the border for the entire war, wouldn't let any aid in. They blame the Israelis. The Israelis will not let aid in. No, it's the Egyptians that wouldn't let the aid in. Yep. Japan pulled out. Mexico pulled out. China, Russia, USA, and Argentina. Who is next? Well, Trump is scrapping some tariffs, folks. Apparently under pressure to lower prices. Beef, coffee, and trout. Why are we importing beef? We have record low beef production in this country because of the wackadoodles buying up all our farmland and our grazing land. The people had shelter, Dogzilla. They had shelter in Gaza. And they didn't like it, so they chose to leave. By the way, Dogzilla, 23 of the 153 went on to somewhere else. They continued their journey. South Africa was not their destination. So why didn't the other 130 go with them? No, it won't be the G7 because the U.S. is not there. President Trump announced today that he was scrapping U.S. tariffs on beef, coffee, tropical fruits, and a broad swath of commodities. Built a second term around imposing steep tariffs on goods. We just did a little of a rollback on some foods like coffee. But to a large extent, they've been borne by other countries, the cost of the tariffs, which is true. That's absolutely true. Disney has settled with YouTube. YouTube saw Disney products, which include ABC, ESPN, a whole bunch of other stuff, pulled off of YouTube recently. But now it's back. Disney settles dispute with YouTube TV, allowing ABC and ESPN to return to channel lineups. ESPN football is returning to YouTube TV after service, and the Walt Disney Company settled their contentious contract dispute, ending nearly 15-day blackout of Disney channels. So what do they offer? Did they give them a ton of money? We apologize for disruptions. You don't apologize, you greedy bastards. You don't care. You don't care. You're greedy bastards. A shrinking pool of big bundle subscribers increasingly has been asked to shoulder higher programming costs. Distributors, including YouTube, have tried to hold the line of prices, cognizant their customers are tired of ever-escalating monthly bills. YouTube TV offered a package of channels for $35 a month when it launched in 2017. It now costs $83 a month. YouTube TV 8 years ago cost $35. It is more than 120% more expensive in just 7 years. Wait a second. Dogzilla said, why can't we have compassion for these Palestinians? Why can't we have compassion for these poor Palestinians? Why can't we let them be in South Africa? And now when I ask about the other 23, who in the world cares about the other 23? Oh, so are they less Palestinian, Dogzilla? Are they less? Are they somehow less than the rest? Are they less than the rest? Tell us, man. Were you nervous in the service? Of course we'll hate unions next, Dogzilla. I detest unions. They're evil, corrupt organizations that steal their members' money and harass legitimate workers. So, who cares about the other 23? I care about them. They're human beings, Dogzilla. They're human beings. They need compassion. Just like the 130 that stayed. Dude, where's your humanity? Dude. How can you dismiss the other 23 Palestinians, man? They're real people. They don't eat Soylent Green. They're real people. I want to be a real boy. Well, this is a strange one. The Netherlands is removing black soldiers from displays. Racist! Netherlands American Cemetery Memorial March. Well, that's the point. The other 130 can choose to go elsewhere too. They have no right to be in South Africa. The Netherlands American Cemetery Memorial in Margarten, the only American military cemetery in the Netherlands, has quietly removed panels displaying the contributions of black Americans during World War II, sparking outrage from Dutch and American citizens. One of the two displays featured an overall history of black American military personnel fighting a double V campaign, victory at home and abroad, while the other told the story of George Pruitt, a black soldier in the 43rd Signal Construction Battalion who drowned a month after the war's end while attempting to save a comrade's life in a German river. The two panels were added to the Visitor Center in 2024 after American Battle Mines Commission received criticism from families and historians for not including the contribution of black service members and their experiences fighting in the Netherlands. At the time publishing, the American Battle Mines Commission did not respond to requests for comment. The panels reportedly rotated out in early March, 1 month after Trump's executive order terminated diversity, equity, and inclusion. The same month, the panels were removed. The Heritage Foundation contacted the American Battle Mines Commission for its supposed failure to comply with Trump's anti-DI initiatives. Among such men was First Sergeant Jefferson Wiggins, the 60th Quartermaster Service Company, one of more than 900,000 black men and women who served in the U.S. military during World War II. Wiggins and the men of the 1960s were tasked with the grim job of burying American dead in Margarten. What was once a fruits orchard would become a final resting place for 8,300 U.S. soldiers, including 172 black servicemen. In 2009, Wiggins recounted the story named Mickey Creekles how the work was done under horrific conditions, often with only rudimentary tools like pickaxes and shovels to dig the graves. And here we all were, this group of black Americans having to deal with the bodies of the white Americans. Wow. Wow. Not soldiers? Not fellow soldiers? So the Dutch didn't do it. The Americans did. Well, the United States has designated 4 European anti-fascist groups as terrorist threats. State Department claims groups in Germany, Italy, and Greece conspiring to undermine the foundations of Western civilization. Woo-hoo. In a public statement on Thursday, the State Department said it would designate Antifa Ost in Germany, the Italy-based International Revolutionary Front, and 2 organizations in Greece, Armed Proletarian Justice and Revolutionary Class Self-Defense, as specially designated global terrorists, conspiring to undermine the foundations of Western civilization through their brutal attacks. Well, it's about time. It's about time. Good. Antifa are fascist, and they're all terrorists. Indeed, indeed, indeed. Indeed, indeed, indeed. It's about time. Good to see that. Good to see that. All right, how we doing, folks? 149 people, 110 likes. Can we hit that like button? Don't forget, folks, tomorrow.
That was easy.
Rugby Ascendant. Springboks. On the road in Italy, in Turin, at the Allianz Stadium. There's a bunch of Allianz. There's one in London now. There's one Allianz Arena in Munich, where the Bayern München play. Yep. And then at Allianz Stadium in... No, wait, is it Allianz? I think it's Allianz. What did I call it? Anyway, whatever. It's one of the German companies. That's the funny thing. But the Twickenham, we will see England host the All Blacks. And then later in the day, it's Ireland hosting Australia on their sad tour of Europe. I have one change to make. I think I need to go back and say that Japan will beat Wales. What do you guys think? That's right. Springboks just win, 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 no matter what. Israeli people, if the horrendous murdering, also need some sympathy. Yes, let's not forget the 1,200 people brutally assaulted, women gang raped, and then shot in the head after being raped. Sick people. Yep. Personal pain in South Africa is on the same road as the old Rhodesia. Yeah, I think you're right about that right now. Yeah, the beheadings, that's right. They're putting babies in ovens and throwing grenades into bomb shelters so that people are disfigured. Yep, that's pretty evil. Pretty evil. Can we please stop chatting and let's get to a topic? What questions do you have for me, folks? Any questions? Any topics you want to discuss? The financial stuff I'm working on. Let me take a look at this stuff. Oh, where's my glasses? They're not here. I'll use this pair. This is the knockoffs. They're not actually Foster grants, but they're not bad. So it's not financial advice. It's factual information. The concept of emigration as recognized by the Financial Surveillance Department has now been phased out since March 2021. Now called cease to be a resident for tax purposes, not managed by the South African Revenue Board, but by SARS. Authorized dealers may allow transfer of up to a total amount of 10 million rand per calendar year per private individual who ceases to be a resident for tax purposes in South Africa and is 18 years of older. So if you got 20 million rand, you got a spouse. If you got 30 million rand and you've got a spouse and an 18-year-old child or offspring is going with you, that's 30 million. Provided the above mentioned conditions are met. Okay. Exchange controls help limit large-scale capital outflows, capital flight, ensuring that South Africans retain enough foreign currency to meet its international obligations and import needs. By regulating how much money moves in and out of the country, authorities can reduce volatility in the exchange rate. Okay. And it maintains the balance between imports and exports. Okay. U.S. effectively banned exchange controls in 1971 when President Nixon ended the dollar's convertibility into gold. UK officially ended exchange controls in 1979 under Margaret Thatcher. Adult residents may use a travel allowance within the single discretionary allowance limit of 1 million rand per calendar year. Residents under 18 years old are permitted travel allowance of 200,000 per calendar year. The individual may not use another's individual single discretionary allowance or foreign capital allowance through the granting of loan or any other similar agreement. In South Africa, donations tax is a levy imposed on the gratuitous transfer of assets or rights by a resident, individual, trust, or company. 20% on the cumulative values. Wow, that's crazy. Forex and currency conversion. Treasury outsourced companies. Process. Opening a ZAR transmission bank account in the client's name. It takes approximately 2 business days to open the accounts. When converting currency, one currency is always sold while another is bought and vice versa. Okay? No kidding. Cost. There's no cost to open and maintain transmission bank accounts. Conversion cost is a pre-negotiated spread that is added to the buying or selling price of currency in question. There's also a fixed SWIFT transaction cost of 500 Rand per transaction, which is applicable to any foreign currency conversion. The spread or commission charged by the intermediate is often based on a sliding scale where larger transactions attract a smaller spread and vice versa. So for instance, 0 to 500,000 Rand is 0.75% spread. Okay, once the South African Rand is converted into foreign currency, the newly bought U.S. dollar needs to be paid into the bank account in the client's name so that can hold U.S. dollars. It's often is a problem as it's difficult, if not impossible, to open a bank account in the United States if you're not present and still resident in South Africa. Yep. In these cases, the intermediary can open a foreign currency account for the client with a local bank in South Africa. The client will then park his or her U.S. dollar account until they're able to open a U.S. bank account and can be transferred there, which is what I've been saying all along. Authorized dealers may allow residents to export Krugerrand coins or the equivalent fractional Krugerrands up to the amount of 30,000 Rand as gifts for non-residents subject. So there you go, folks. If you want to give me a gift, you can bring me Krugerrands. Personal items, pension savings, retirement annuities, proof to SARS that you've been living abroad for 3 years, remain non-tax resident for at least 3 consecutive years, and obtain the applicable tax compliance status. Works out to 26% on 1 million Rand. Wow. SARS retirement lump sum benefits, withdrawal table, not the retirement fund lump sum where the first 500K is tax-free. That's different. If you take 27,500, no taxable income. 27,000 to 726,000, 18% above the 27,000. 700,000 to 1 million is 27%. If you get to 1,089,000 or more Rand, they take 36%. Wow, that's a ripoff. Life insurance in general remain in place as long as you pay the premiums. Most insurers will only accept payment in Rand. Study your policy to see what the terms and conditions are. Contact and inform your insurer. Once you're no longer a South African citizen or lose your permanent residency, your life insurance policy could become invalid as they might only offer coverage to South African citizens. In South Africa, most insurance companies won't offer coverage to those over the age of 65. Well, that's pretty age bigotry there. Medical aid. While visiting the country up to 3 months, built-in travel insurance that forms part of your medical aid. Contract. Okay. And then cryptocurrency, not overseen by SARB. Anyway, that's kind of the notes for it. It's pretty dry and boring. I would have to sex it up a little bit, make it more interesting than that, because that wasn't very interesting. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Yeah, Rossi will have an 8-0 split. That's going to be interesting, won't it? Tax base leaving in droves. ANC is now very worried. No more gravy train. Yep. Yeah, I'll bet it's difficult out to get it cleared by SARS. How do we get the regular South African citizen to see and recognize all the lies and cover-ups, deceit and corruption going on in the government and how it affects them personally? I don't know, Leslie. I don't know. Unless South African Broadcasting Corporation and the radio stations start focusing on it. If you could get key black influencers in South Africa and you could get non-Afrikaners to get the message across. Wow, Charles, that's a lot of money. That is a lot of money. Whereas one of my retirement accounts is tax-free. Tax-free. Every penny that comes out of it is tax-free. I paid the tax on my contributions up front, and the money went in, and it'll all be tax-free. They've already been exposed, Reynolds Steenkamp. They've already been exposed repeatedly. All those, they've been exposed. It isn't going to matter. Digital ID, yep. A lot of money. Yep, a lot of money. Anyway, where are we at? So Windows wants update. I don't really want that. I thought we were done with Windows updates. They can't make their mind up. Microsoft just can't make its mind up. Excuse me. Getting tired. I should go to bed because I got the game at 7. Palestinian says he boarded the plane without knowing ultimate destination. Who does that? After deciding to leave war-stricken Gaza. The war is over, man. Lual Abu Saif boarded a plane with his wife and 2 children aged 2 and 4, not knowing they would be ultimately end up in the challenges awaiting. In an interview with News 24 Friday, the 35-year-old said he was desperate to escape the horrific scenes of hunger, death, and restriction in Gaza. He said he saw an opportunity for him and his family. A Facebook post by an international humanitarian organization called Al-Majid Europe offering Gaza residents relocation. The situation was unbearable. Watching fellow countrymen die, the living conditions deteriorating while the restrictions imposed by Israel grew harsher. Israel isn't in Gaza. What restrictions? They're not in Gaza. That's a lie. There are some areas that are completely occupied. You cannot access those areas. There's also areas with unexploded ordnance you can't access. He clicked on that in January this year, and he just got here. He said they'd be taking to visa-friendly countries such as South Africa and some Asian countries where they could stay for some time without seeking asylum. Just wanted to take some time to think about the future of my family, to be in a place. And how exactly are you expecting to live in these countries? Could you bring money, or are you going to live off of these people? We were told the destination would not be disclosed for safety reasons. They explained that previous trips had been interfered with, and so it was better not to reveal location. Family packed their belongings and joined a group of other Palestinians in the city of Rafah. There, 153 of them were collected by buses at 5 o'clock in the morning, which took them to Karim Sablu border crossing located between Israel and Gaza. Coordinators were engaging in talks with the Israelis while we waited. After some time, we were told we need to leave our belongings behind. The only thing we take with our clothes and our bags and a few essentials, and so we did. He said they then embarked on a long journey to the Ramman International Airport near Eilat. They still had no idea where they were headed until they reached Nairobi. After midnight, they were where they connected flights. Yep. So I understood that once we applied for asylum, our passports would be taken and our ability to travel would be restricted. We wanted to retain the option to decide where we could settle. Apparently life was okay in Gaza. I mean, she's pregnant. War lasted 2 years. It takes 9 months to bring a child gestation. So somebody had time to do something they weren't doing defending Gaza. Oh, boy. Majority of the refugees on board expressly indicated a desire to seek asylum in South Africa. That's not what they said. That is not what they said. Story keeps changing now. Story keeps changing now. They're on your case for money they owe you? That's crazy. You work for an Islamist and you lost your job because you're Christian and you wouldn't entertain the Free Palestinian slogans thrown around in a corporate setting. Exactly. They invited Hamas. They voted for Hamas. Destination shopping. Exactly what it is. Exactly what it is. Just like the Somalis come to America. Yeah, Home Affairs can find the Palestinians. Well, they're at the airport, Charles. It was easy to find them. Oh, Tamba's a nice place to hang out. They got a Mug and Bean. They got an Ocean Basket. They got a Nando's. They got everything there, man. They got a Wimpy. They got a sneakers sports shop. Yeah, they got it all. So people are going to hang out there, man. All right, folks. Tonight, what I had to do is I had to go get funds earlier today. I had to count out the cash. Cash. I counted out 500,000 Rand tonight. And then I had to carry it to the bank. By the way, I didn't have an armed escort. There was no cash in transit heist. I simply walked out in a plastic rubbish bin bag. And it's clear, too, with a stack of bills like this. Where's my phone at? Hang on a second. No cash in transit heist. No firearms necessary. This is money for... Where are we at here? Camera. There you go, folks. So, had to count all of that out today. Then take it to the bank and deposit it. 500,000 Rand. Good evening, Angelique. What's up? Oh, my phone needs to be charged. What am I thinking here? Should be charging this, otherwise it'll fall. It'll die on me, and I won't wake up in the morning. Lots of money counting. Well, I don't like. Hey, Billy Painter, what's going on out in Idaho, man? I hear you're stealing my refugees for your show, you greedy bastard. Hey, Billy, how's it going, man? How you doing? Yeah, Charles, I have your banking details. The account says Wyatt is the last name. Did you spell it? Did you spell Onslin W-Y-A-T-T? Well, those were $100 bills and $50 bills. There was a lot of them, man. Whew, I had to count. It took a while. It was all there. Deposited it. Got the receipt. 100 ounces of gold from... Yeah, now that would be something, because you're definitely a target with that. Hey, Helen of Troy's here. What's going on? What is going on? The railway paydays. That would be interesting. Oh, you got your inheritance. They're saying that you owe them 51 now. Well, it's all gone, Angelique. It's all deposited in the bank, and it'll all be spent on bills before you know it, it'll be gone. Helen got interview dates. See? Yes, Justin, thank you for the compliment. I look tired. I am tired. It will be time for bed here soon. But let's take a quick discussion of the Springboks lineup for tomorrow morning, okay? That's very soon. So I also want to, I don't know if I think I can read this without revealing who it is. I want to tell you, some of you think, you got screwed over. I'm going to tell you how people got screwed over. But let me talk about the Springboks very quickly. Damien Willemse at fullback, Edwil van der Merwe on the right wing, Kanan Moody and Ethan Hooker are inside-outside center, Kurtley Aronson left wing, Andre Pollard is back at fly half, Mornay van der Beek scrum half, Marco van Staden, Ben Jason Dixon, Sia Khaleesi in the middle, Franco Mostart, Jean Klein are the locks, Zachary Porthen, Johan Gerbela, and Bone Venter in the front row. Gerhard Steenkamp, Vilko Low, and then that's it. No more front rowers. Arge Stamen, Ron Nordkia, Andre Esthuizen, Quagga Smith, Grant Williams, and Monty Libbek. Wow. Taking some risks there. Allianz Stadium in Turin. James Dolman from New Zealand is the official. Ben O'Keefe from New Zealand and Jeremy Rozier from France are on the sidelines, and Tuel Trenini. By the way, I saw TA Analytics and the rewinding, and I will change my position on the red card and the reckless play by Lut de Jager. I saw it, the replay, which we didn't see in this kind of time. He had 0.36 seconds to change his body position after he committed to tackle. And when he committed to tackle, the opponent was upright and he was coming in midway. When he went forward, when you see the reverse angle, you can see that the player's arm, his right arm, was pushing out like this, and it prevented Lut de Jager from lifting up his arm. He blocked it down like that. He blocked his arm, so he couldn't lift his arm to do the wrap. Lut de Jager should not have gotten a red card. It's certainly not a permanent red card. He should have gotten a yellow card at most. Yeah, wow, I saw that. Now I correct my original assessment on that. That was so wrong. Yeah, exactly, Alan. I think it was really just a yellow card because he had no chance. The player blocked his arm. He couldn't cover up. I didn't see it in real time, and I didn't see it in the replay, Charles. I think you did say something about that, as I recall. You were right. You were right. I saw it on TA Analytics. It was 100% right. I will admit when I'm wrong. It happens so seldom. It's easy for me to do. White Buffalo Francois Bota. Yeah, I covered that, Mad Max. $680 million to keep traditional media houses in business. Yep. Yeah, the ref just dismissed him. It's on Peacock, Dogzilla. Okay. So I'm going to try to do this without revealing who it is, okay? On the 12th of May, I applied via the statement of interest for the program. On 23 September, 12 May, June, July, August, September, it took 4 months and 12 days, 4.5 months before they heard. They received an email from the Amerikaners with a link to a unique ID code. Received another email from Amerikaners requesting a referral. They completed and submitted. On the 27th, received an email confirming my refugee assistance referral with a unique code and completed and submitted. On the 28th, received a validation email from Amerikaners and completed the validation. On the 20th of September. Then 3 weeks later, on the 21st of October, received an email from CWS. On the 23rd of October, received a call from a Kenya phone number lasting 8 minutes. The caller asked if they were ready to travel in 2 to 4 weeks, and this person confirmed yes. Then instructed the person to a pre-screening interview in Pretoria at 7:30, blank, blank, location. Shortly afterwards, another CWS agent called to inform the person the location had changed. They received an updated email. On the morning of 24 October, received a new location, blank, blank location. Family immediately traveled from blank in the Western Cape to Pretoria. Driving, it cost 8,660 Rand. Fuel was 4,200. Toll gates, guest house, food and drink. Arrived on 27th at 5:20 in the morning. Presented an email to the security guard and were allowed to wait outside. At 7:30, they explained the process. ID was checked, given a folder. An agent then escorted him to the waiting area. A short while later, she returned. At 11 a.m., the same agent informed us we were released from the interview and that our next interview and medicals would take place in Cape Town. But they didn't have an interview. She also told us to gather all the documents from the personnel, U.S. personnel. We were handling the documentation, which we did. The USA lady asked us why we were being released and told her that the agent only stated that we were released and don't know why. USA lady asked us to wait, as this can't be right. We waited 45 minutes to an hour for a return, which she told us even she could not get an answer from them and that we should email or call them. We were assured this was confirmed, so we drove another 16 hours back to Western Cape. believing the next steps were imminent. We tried phoning CWS, no answer. We emailed, then we received only an automated email. On November 3rd, we received another call from CWS asking if we had done our fingerprints when we attended the Pretoria interview. I explained that we had been released and that no fingerprints or interview took place. She apologized for the miscommunication and inconvenience on their side. She confirmed that our fingerprinting medicals take place in the Western Cape, which I specifically reconfirmed due to our financial difficulties. After placing me on hold, she returned and confirmed 100% that Cape Town was correct, and I received an email shortly afterwards. 2 days later, I received an email with a link for my case portal, which now shows no steps completed. I've since only received my case number, but there's been no further update. Due to the serious miscommunication, the financial strain caused by long-distance travel, my family are now homeless, living in our car. We are in greater danger now than ever before, both physically and emotionally, as we have no safe place to stay. What's even more distressing is the families who applied in August and September have already completed all the steps and have received flight plans, while we seem to have been overlooked or pushed aside despite following every instruction given to us. Yep. So this is insane. You think you've got it bad? You think you've got it bad? That's one case. I get 100 of these messages a day. So people tell me there's no interest in this program are full of crap. They're full of crap. I mean, I'm nobody. I know somebody calls me the king of refugees. I'm nobody. I get 100 of those messages a day. Just like that. People pleading for help. You wonder why I'm angry? You wonder why I make that video? That's one. That's not even the most egregious case. Not even the most egregious. I've got multiple cases of people who are told to go all the way from Port Elizabeth to Pretoria. They get to Pretoria and they're told, no, your appointment's not here. It's in Cape Town. Are you serious? Are you freaking serious? I got cases of people who are told to go to Pretoria and then they're told to go home. We'll contact you with medicals later on. They go from Durban to Pretoria all the way back to Durban, and then the next day they're told at 7:30 in the morning to be in Cape Town. Wow. You guys, look, this is why people wonder sometimes why I'm a little abrupt. Because some of the whining, I have been contacted. Maybe you're lucky. Let them figure this stupid shit out first before they screw you over like this. Maybe not going right now is a good thing. Maybe these people figure their crap out and then you don't have to deal with this. Yes, Alan. And as I explained in my video, there are 4 reasons in my mind why this is happening. Number 1, they are rushing. They are rushing because they've been under pressure because the program moved too slowly for political leaders. They want more people over. So they're rushing. And people who rush make mistakes. Number 2, they don't know geography. Both the Americans on temporary assignment to South Africa who are working very hard and the Kenyans in Kenya are working very hard, but they don't understand geography. Number 3. There were 4 of them. I had 3 or 4. Anyway, not important. I'm sure there were anti-Floyd, but hopefully they didn't get told the next day to be in Cape Town. It's a terrible process. I don't know if it's a good or bad thing not being contacted. If you hear some of the stories, there's so many people that have plain sailing. Well, I don't know who has the plain sailing. The only people that had resources I know have plain sailing. I mean, the number of people like you that contact me, I have no money. Okay. And? Well, how am I supposed to get to Pretoria? I don't know. March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November. 9 months. 9 months you've had to prepare for interviews. 9 months waiting for a phone call. 9 months waiting for going. Yes, you're right, Dogzilla. The program needs a major upgrade. It needs leadership. It needs leadership. 9 months. You should have had plans in place. Conrad, it's you would think it would be that simple, wouldn't you? Wouldn't you? By the way, some of the people who contact me, there's a reason why you haven't heard back from the government. Previous arrest, charge in your past, or someone in your family is going with you. That's the reason why you're not getting answers back. I have to research that. Oh, but if you look at my videos, Maze, many of those videos are that ungodly hour. Justin, it may be in your best interest that it takes another month or 2 for them to sort this out. I mean, these are horrific stories, folks. Absolutely horrific stories. Yeah, and I mean, that's insane. That's somebody who's able to raise 9,000 Rand to go to, and then didn't even get interviewed. I wouldn't have stood for that. I wouldn't have stood for that. I would have stood my ground and said, I need to talk to somebody in charge here. We raised all the money we could to come all the way up here because you told us to come up here, and now you're telling us to go all the way back, and you didn't give us an interview? You wasted our time? Yes, I have burned bridges, Max. I have burned bridges. But I've done it. I don't mind burning bridges for the extreme cases, but extreme cases, then people just they screw off and disappear and don't even tell me that they've got over and don't even thank me. That's really rude, but that's happened once. That's why I was not rushed with my dates. Lots of things to sort out and be ready. They're so unaware of how things work here. Yep. A lot of people don't listen. Someone I know is still waiting since April, but didn't know what to do. Told them about the yeah. Well, tell them about not the statement of interest, but about the intake questionnaire. If they haven't heard from anybody since then, they better do the intake questionnaire. They'll never hear from anybody. Petitions aren't going to do anything. They ain't going to do anything. No. I think there's some people in the State Department that don't like me. You see, I'm just as blunt now as I was when I was in the Army. And remember, I worked in 8 embassies. I'm sure I've got some enemies that are sitting in the State Department somewhere. I don't doubt it at all. I don't doubt it at all. I don't doubt it at all. Those people stay there for 40 years. Yep. Mustard olive coaching. I hear you most want to argue, but I'll tell you what. That's if it's your life, you should argue. We will always be one of the families going over 0 Rand. Well, don't worry about coming over 0 Rand. Just worry about being able to get to the airport and get the hell out of Dodge. That's all you got to worry about. Yeah, May. See, don't say that because they don't all see. Your experience is not the next refugee's experience, my friend. It's not the next person's experience. Everyone has a different experience. Okay. You get people are incompetent. People don't know better. New people in the job. People leave the job. Someone died. You don't. Not everyone has the same experience, man. Not everyone has the same experience. Just an ad interrupt, but it was for the rugby. Okay, cool, Leslie. Oh, they know exactly who the colonel is, and they should just ask for help. And the colonel will be on a flight to Swarth. Yeah, no. If they ask me for help and they pay for my flight, my accommodation, I'm there day after tomorrow. I'll drop what I'm doing. I'm coming. If they ask for my help, yep, I'm coming. Yep, I'm coming. I'm coming, Elizabeth. I'll come and I'll sort it out. Yep, at least I know how to read a map. I guarantee I know how to read a map. Every person has different experience. The lady we had this week was abrupt compared to the guy last week. Yep. And I had someone who wrote to me and complained that a black American woman was racist towards them. Nothing I can do about that. I wasn't present. $500,000 is positive. What are you talking about? You mean 500,000 Rand. I didn't say dollars. I wish it was 500,000. We could use 500,000. We got 500,000, we'd be set. We could pay people proper wages. We could sort things out. Yeah. Well, Maze, I understand the position people are in. If they feel if they report the person, then their application is going to get lost. So I understand why they didn't. Madeline says, "I know exactly who you are." Yes, I know, and I also know that they're trying to. A couple of them are trying to get me in trouble. They're asking if I've coached people. Yeah, I haven't coached anybody. Yeah, they're asking if I've asked for money. Yeah, this is all bullshit. They know I don't ask for money. They know I don't coach people. They're trying to get people to say that against me. Yep. Lily van der Plas. Oh, isn't it that woman that's making videos? Renell, take care. Well, it's been an hour and a half, and I do need to hit the rack because we got a 7 o'clock. I got to be here in front of the camera again for the Springboks versus Italy. This is a trap game. We have to be careful. We cannot have a close outcome in this game. We cannot let Italy stay in the game. We need to hit the ground running and score. But I think that the massive change up in the lineup will probably do that. Yep, a lot of players out there hungry to get that first string spot. Hold is the newest keyword for why the program is taking so long. 6 weeks post final interview, and we don't know if we've been approved. Yep, Dusty, that's what's going on here. It was because of the budget, but now we still have to wait for the Federal Register, and then the budget might be turned on. And I did tell people it was going to take 7 to 10 days minimum, and I'm correct about that. All right, so the budget was signed when? 2 nights ago? Middle son is turning 20. Well, happy birthday to your son. No, don't apologize, Del Marie Mostart. It's not my money. I wish it was my money. It's not my money. It was for the Veterans Organization. Yep. So we got that advance. So we had to pay it back, but no interest. So need to know if anyone has a room in Hauteng to rent for 10 days. Yes, Helen. I need people who have space in Joburg or in Pretoria. Send me an email or WhatsApp so I can help a couple people out who don't have anywhere to stay. Donations, complete construction, 120 euro. Forget that. First half was scary. Yeah, the box, they did put together the second half. I remember that. First half was ugly last year. Good memory there, Xavier. Yeah. You know, I coach you to be honest. You can tell them that. That's right. I coach you to be honest. Tell them nothing but the truth and don't leave anything out. I said an act of omission is a lie. Did I not say that? Multiple times. Multiple times. Eyesight is really up close. Is becoming a problem here. Look at my arm there. I can't see it clearly. 100 kilometers. That's too far, Mad Max. Yeah, people can't make that. Exactly. Is there someone I can contact when I leave here? Who will contact me next? What's the phone number? What's the email address? Whom do I talk to? That's what you got to ask. Yep. I don't know what unclear boundaries are, Helen, unless it's some dude who offered you a place to stay. But yeah, if anybody can help out with a combination in Pretoria, Cape Town, Joburg, please send me a note, okay? Even if you have to charge for it, let me know. Just a reasonable price. Family in Hauteng, but I cannot ask them to help because I don't want them to know I'm applied. Well, there you go, Sue Marie. There you go. Sorry, Auntie Floyd. Heartbeats port. Boy, what was the smell like there? It's nasty at the... Oh, those freaking sewage that pours in there. No, I liked New York City when Giuliani ran it, and even up to about 2005, it was still nice to go to. But now it's a crap hole. All right, guys, I do need to get to bed. I got rugby. I'll see some of you on Rugby Ascent in the morning for the Springboks and Italy. And then later it's England, All Blacks, I know, but a small crowd, and then Ireland in the afternoon. Okay? The link is broken. That's odd, Mace. I've heard that from 1 or 2 people. But also, site's been down and up and down. Fist bump, says Billy. Okay, fist bump, man. You guys take care. Thanks for being here. Be sure to hit the like button if you haven't done already. Have a good night, guys. Thanks for everybody being here. Take care of yourselves. Cheers and be well.